Chinese medical experts imparting knowledge. Minister orders control to Lae City Authority. And Madang Districts with no government presence.
This is National EMTV News with Neville Choi.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for Tuesday's news. The Minister for Intergovernmental Relations, Kevin Isifu, has issued a ministerial directive that gives control to the Lae City Authority over the Lae City Council. Under the interim arrangement, the LCA will take over municipal functions like road maintenance, garbage and revenue collection. The directive comes after months of resistance by the Lae City Lord Mayor, who refused to sign an agreement for the arrangement to take place.
This is the first real step forward for the Lae City Authority since its establishment last year. The Intergovernment Relations Minister yesterday signed documents that allowed for the Lae City Authority to take over municipal functions.
Because long outstanding issues surrounding two governments, government belong local level government belong Lae City Authority. Islam hindering all services.
The authority has also been made the implementing agency for all projects within Lae City. In November last year, the Lae City Authority tried signing a memorandum of understanding with the Lae City Council, which would then transfer powers from the council to the authority.
But you have to be sorry.
The city's Lord Mayor refused to sign the agreement and the delays continued until the minister was requested to override the council's powers.
I'm only here to intervene as the minister, to come and tell them to work together under that temporary arrangement.
The council has always been the government agency in charge of the city, but several audits starting from 2014 have highlighted widespread theft of funds and abuse of office by senior officers and the council management. The mismanagement in the council resulted in workers not being paid and a gradual deterioration of services.
One administrative authority to run the whole city. In the past we had 5 or 6 different entities, now just one authority.
This is an interim arrangement which will last until after the local level government elections. Scott Wide, National EMTV News, Lae.
Chairman of the New Ireland Government Autonomy Committee, Sir Noel Levy, is calling on Prime Minister Peter O'Neill to give equal attention to the needs, aspirations and demands of all provinces, not only the wishes of the Bougainville people. He said the Prime Minister should not ignore the political desire and request from provinces like New Ireland, East New Britain and Enga for deeper decentralization and political autonomy. Sir Noel said these entities are equal in status but differ in their levels of development and advancement politically, socially and economically. He urged the Prime Minister not to fear the devolution of powers to the provinces, but instead see it as a positive for the future advancement of the country. Como airfield landowners have given the state and developer 21 days for a response about outstanding benefits. Chairman John Pipija says enough is enough and the airfield will be shut down for the last time. Pipija says the final warning will not be taken lightly and all the state has to show so far is empty promises.
Backed by representatives from the 16 clans that host the Como airfield, Chairman Pipija says this will be their final call to the state. He says 8 months past, the state continues to neglect petitions. According to Pipija, the state continues to use security forces to negotiate and sign temporary agreements.
Como airfield, we blame no pardon period. We blame no government in a blonde facility. Like Papa Lelea and long Pilar 7 Heights. But all government been looks when action mobile to been failing me blaso.
The Como airfield was instrumental in delivering the first phase and current operations of the PNG LNG project. For these resource owners, the 16 clans were not part of the UBSA and LBSA in Kokopo. For 3 times, the gates of the airfield have been closed.
So haremo mino looking one by signal blow pabuning in gaman action mobile. Some me been passing this legadia blow me saw the more opportunity blow me. No one agreement block home field.
According to the Como Airfield landowners, Department of Petroleum, the state and developer ExxonMobil are yet to discuss specifics of the petitions presented previously. A 21-day notice was issued last week.
So now we give him how much days?
21 days.
21 days and approve him by lockdown forever.
Suppose this no feedback can you some coming up now some 8 months and come about by Southern for good. Okay, suppose government like giving feedback. Or got the petition from 2011 coming up 2018 by honoring.
The landowners are now waiting for the state, DPE and ExxonMobil to respond. Jacob Harvey Jr., National MTV News.
2 districts in Madang province have had no presence of public servants or a functioning district administration. This was revealed to National Planning Minister Richard Maru during his recent visit to the districts of Middle Ramu and Rai Coast. Minister Maru met with the Governor for Madang, Peter Yama, to discuss ways forward for the Madang province.
The Minister for National Planning, Richard Maru, and Governor Peter Yama met to discuss a way forward for Madang province. The issue of public service machinery being non-existent in government district is not isolated to Madang alone. The National Planning Minister, after his recent visit to Iomi Station in the Middle Ramu district, was apparently shocked to find no government services and public servants.
That's why I'm not blaming them. I'm saying that we need to attend to them. It's not a blame game. We are not here to blame anyone. We are saying we have a crisis. We all have to get in and support each other and fix the problem and deliver service to our people. And to make it worse, one of them has a mine called Raikos. The refinery is in that district, and they don't have public servants. Come on, something is wrong.
Governor Yama gave assurance that public servants will return to the district as the provincial administration was made aware of the directions to have all public servants and functions of the district administration return to Iomi Station and Side Door Station.
Told get them order, had a strong meeting with all the district administration, and now they're packing up from Madang and on the way as we are speaking. As from last week, orders been given. They don't comply by tomorrow. Then by 4 or 6 tomorrow they're off the payroll. So we are making some very drastic decisions, but as I say, you need the public servants themselves to do it. I can't do it for them because I don't have the power. If you give me power to run the public servants, I tell you, they will be fired tomorrow. I don't have the power.
The reason for public servants leaving the district was due to poor housing, no electricity and water. Minister Maru announcing that a special support grant of 9 million kina will be made available next month to assist the provincial government rebuild the district, the funding already appropriated in the 2019 budget. A further 5 million kina will be released to PNGDF as the engineering battalion is working on improving the road conditions in the districts.
The Defence Force working in IAM right now to continue the work of getting the roads, the track done. So we can try and connect to Madang, but we still will need a bridge. But at least we'll be able to get the links going. And that's our focus right now. National government is to try and ensure we support the Defence Force to get the road link done.
The governor said the station will see public servants and government services return to Iomi and Side Door Station within the next 3 months. Adelaide Siraks Kari, National MTV News.
A team of experts from the Chongqing Medical University of China have arrived in the country to provide free urological surgery and training for local medical practitioners at the Port Moresby General Hospital. This program is part of the Cooperation Agreement on Partnership, Hospital Assistance between the National Health Department and the National Health and Family Planning Commission of China. In a media conference with Chinese experts today, Health Minister Sepuka Temu welcomed them into the country, saying this cooperation will help PNG in a big way.
The team consists of medical experts in the field of urology, a branch in medicine that focuses on surgical and medical diseases of the male and female urinary tract systems. The team comes with 2.5 million kina worth of medical equipment donated by the Chinese government to Port Moresby General Hospital. In welcoming the team today, Health Minister Sepuka Temu says the donations will go a long way in strengthening the China and PNG partnership.
Worth about 2.5 million kina worth of equipment that you are bringing in, plus the expertise that are here to also undertake some of those non-invasive procedures to teach our experts. We only have one urologist in the country, and so you bringing in the team to help the team and transfer the school plus donate the equipment. We are very grateful for that.
The donation also includes endoscopic equipment to support urology surgeries at the Port Moresby General Hospital. The team of experts will be working with local doctors to train them on urology surgery. They will also be assisting with cancer treatment at the Port Moresby General Hospital.
Be requesting if radiation oncologists or even cancer therapy treatment experts in the areas of cervical cancer, breast cancer, mouth cancer, and the other cancers. So we can build a capacity of our newly established cancer centers. So it's a very good, timely announcement, and I welcome it.
Sepuka said through this partnership, they will look at building screening facilities for cancer in all provinces in the country. He said the country lacks equipment and cancer experts to fight cancer in the country.
Recently, last week, we are procuring a linear accelerator for this new center in Port Moresby General Hospital, but we don't have the experts yet. And so the announcement that we will further partner in the area of cancer is a very timely announcement.
The team will be in the country for 12 months. The health minister said discussions have commenced on a new 3-year cooperation agreement with China to continue collaboration in the future. Rayon Lakingu, National MTV News.
6 people claiming to be from a church group were arrested this afternoon for attempting to bribe police in Lae. The suspects include the mother of an armed robbery suspect who was apprehended last night. Police found homemade guns in the possession of the 2 suspects and arrested them. This afternoon, the group, including the mother of one of the suspects, tried to have the young men released by paying off police. The Lae Metropolitan Command said the 6 men and women have been arrested and charged. You're with National MTV News. Milne Bay hit by strong winds, 70 dead from flash floods in Jayapura, Indonesia, and new LLG for Kairukuhiri in the Central Province. Those stories when we come back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Island communities and coastal areas in the Milne Bay province are reeling from the effects of strong winds over the weekend. Some of the hardest hit include Goodenough, Cape Vogel, and Menapi. These pictures posted on social media show some of the damage caused by the strong winds. Reports from Goodenough Island say several houses have been destroyed and power poles at the district high school brought to the ground. MTV has tried contacting the provincial administrator, but there has been no official word as yet this afternoon. Meanwhile, deadly floods have affected thousands of people residing in Sentani district in Jayapura, Indonesia's Papua province. 70 bodies have so far been recovered from the floods that caused damage to 4 areas in Sentani district. Jayapura shares a land border with Vanimo in West Sepik province, and its airport is also located at Sentani, where floodwaters and mudslides have caused extensive damage. The Joint Rescue Team continues to find victims. A team from the Papua Regional Police have succeeded in identifying 22 bodies and surrendering them to their families. More than 4,000 people are said to be displaced following the heavy rains and flash floods as rescue operations continue in the region. The Department of Provincial Affairs and Local Level Government has approved a new LLG for Kairukuhiri district in the Central Province. Kairukuhiri MP Peter Esoaimo says Kuni LLG will now have a representative to speak for the people who he says have been neglected. Previously, Kuni Ward Council was represented by a leader from Mekeo LLG.
Kuni people boast a third of the Kairukuhiri district in Central Province. For almost 30 years, service delivery to the people has been often. The local MP Peter Isoaimo says poor representation of a leader has pushed the assembly to split the Kuni from Mekeo LLG.
And so to fall under an LLG together with Mekeo, we feel we have been left out for too long.
A local leader says Kuni will now cease services after almost 35 years. He says people are happy for the Kuni LLG creation and the public service mechanism must support them. One service Kuni people need is a proper road.
Give us a special consideration that Kuni be given extra funding so that we can develop our own area. Because for the last 20 years we have been deprived of our rights of receiving government services, and even no services reached us. Our road is like a bush track.
The creation of Kuni LLG will also need funding to support this arm of government. MP Isoaimo says the district will back the LLG and see services reach communities.
We hope to secure some funding so we'll be able to do up our road.
Kuni LLG will now have a representative in the Karakuhiri Assembly. Jaglo Power Junior, National MTV News.
The Lufa cane weavers are a small group of people from Goroka, Eastern Highlands Province. They have been weaving baskets and other crafts to sell for the past 10 years. Much of their small business is carried out on foot. Spokesperson Fena Iaroka says there needs to be a designated craft market or area in Lae where they can sell their products. They also lack market areas in their home provinces, hence they travel to Lae to find customers.
Today we met with Fena Iaroka and two others at Eriko in Lae. This is part of their normal routine, carrying these baskets to be sold to any interested customer. On average, they sell 4 to 5 of these items daily.
And one big important road load, spending money.
Fena says there is a need for established market areas where they can be able to sell their crafts. He said if they decide to rent a space in Lae to operate out from, it would be too expensive.
Hard time low by government by look seven by making creating road by plan by play and put him low. Low one play halfway by government by organizing rock sense plan.
Minister for National Planning Richard Maru says the government has plans to address such problems both in the formal and informal sector. He said they are negotiating a partnership with UN Women to create safe markets, especially for women and mothers in the informal sector.
And, we are then going to look at a program for the formal sector. As you know, in Port Moresby, at 6 Mile already the first pilot project is being built by NCDC to put up an incubation center for shops and all that for just our local SMEs. That's a pilot project, and I'm sure depending on the success of that, we can look at a national rollout as we go. But
Lucy Kopana, National MTV News, Lae.
This is Tuesday's news, stories making headlines overseas. When we return, stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas now and to New Zealand, mental health helplines have been flooded with calls in the wake of the Christchurch attack. Officials in Canterbury have serious concerns, especially for young people. Many suffered following the earthquake, and as One News reports, their strength is again being tested.
Vulnerable. And they're grieving.
There was a boy from our school who I was really good friends with, and now he's gone because someone else just couldn't deal with the fact that we're all different.
There are 20 schools across Christchurch with direct links to victims or parents of victims. Some schools are dealing with multiple fatalities.
This has hit Christchurch again, another tragic event.
Katrina Casey says Friday's attack is particularly tough for students.
There have been 2 sudden unexpected deaths of students, only one in Christchurch and one in the wider Canterbury area. It is very, very difficult to speculate on any connections, but our teachers and parents and principals know their kids best, and what we're saying is look out for any changes in attitude that is a bit strange, any changes in behaviour.
Health Minister David Clark says ongoing support will be on offer.
I think it's a given that over the coming period additional resource for mental health will be available to Christchurch.
One service that is available now though is the 1737 helpline. Since Friday they've fielded nearly 2,500 calls, each call averaging 37 to 41 minutes. They've got an additional 80 staff on nationwide to ensure every call is returned within 20 seconds. Their lead psychiatrist says a lot of calls have come from children, many struggling to process their thoughts in the middle of the night.
A lot of emotional reactions are a normal thing at a time like this, and it doesn't mean you're going crazy, it's just a natural human reaction in the aftermath of a traumatic event.
He's urging people to pick up the phone if they need professional help.
If you're really struggling, the sooner you actually get help the better, and that the longer you carry on struggling, the tougher it can be.
And psychiatrists say these gatherings, which have come naturally to people here, will also help the healing.
Australian leaders are calling for a worldwide agreement to crack down on the use of social media. Police there are also racing to find out more about the suspected gunman and whether they could have done anything to stop him.
A memorial service for Christchurch. This time in the hometown of the alleged gunman, Brenton Tarrant.
I just feel for the people that have gone through this.
Grafton residents reeling that one of their own is accused of mass murder.
But I've never heard anybody express any anti-Islamic hatred in that sense. So I'm not sure, I don't think he's picked it up from the Clarence River.
Australian police continuing to work with the family of Tarrant.
Mrs. Tarrant, is there anything you'd like to say?
Escorted by Australia's counter-terrorism team, this is the first time Tarrant's mother and sister have been able to return home.
Lauren, do you have a message to New Zealand?
Detectives going through phones and computers looking for communication linked to Brenton Tarrant. They're also searching vehicles including a camper van that once belonged to the alleged gunman.
They're a really respected family around here. It's just shocking to think this actually happened, you know.
Brenton Tarrant left Australia in 2011 and police believe he spent just 45 days in the country in 3 years. Now they're wanting to know whether they missed any red flags.
They have conducted search warrants in New South Wales. That information has been sent to us and will form part of the investigation.
Today, Australia's Prime Minister called for a global agreement to clamp down on social media used to promote violence and terrorism.
If you can write an algorithm to make sure that the ads they want you to see can appear on your mobile phone, then I'm quite confident they can write an algorithm to screen out hate content on the social media platform.
They are the publisher, not just the postman. There cannot be a case of all profit, no responsibility.
This Adelaide man running from reporters accused of posting comments online in support of the Christchurch massacre. He's been charged with possessing a firearm without a licence and was granted bail on the condition he stay offline.
A number of Kiwi businesses are putting a call to social media giants to change their ways. It comes after footage of the Christchurch terrorist attack was live streamed on Facebook and shared millions of times online.
Wherever we look, companies are trying to sell us services and products.
But many are pulling away from using social media platforms after horrific footage from Friday spread like wildfire online.
The vast majority of large advertisers are either have done this or are in the process of making changes.
Those on board include Westpac.
Like all New Zealanders, we were really worried to see some of that content that was being shared, and we're just seeking some answers from some of the social media agencies.
They're doing it for immoral reasons.
Millions of videos related to the alleged gunman's live stream was shared on YouTube at times as fast as a new upload every second. Videos like this Minecraft recreation of the shooting still circulating.
Since Friday's horrific tragedy, we've removed tens of thousands of videos and terminated hundreds of accounts created to promote or glorify the shooter. Our teams are continuing to work around the clock to prevent violent and graphic content from spreading. We know there is much more work to do.
Tens of millions were spent on social media advertising in New Zealand last year.
Advertisers are considering where should they be spending their money.
And they are asking Facebook, Twitter and Google to make sure this doesn't happen again.
We think that the content that's shared was inappropriate, and we're keen to get a response from them on what they can do about that.
A task force has been created to look into what else Kiwi companies can do, and it isn't just an issue here.
So we're reaching out to the World Federation of Advertisers and asking that this be dealt with on a global basis and getting their support.
Pressure mounting on social media giants to change.
And major events continue to be cancelled across the country in the wake of the terror attack. But tourism bosses are urging people both in New Zealand and overseas to remember the country is safe for visitors.
Thousands were expected to flock to Auckland's Western Springs this weekend for the 27th Pacifica Festival. Instead, in the wake of the Christchurch shootings, the tents were coming down. It's one of a number of events that have been cancelled across the country, but tourism agencies say New Zealand is still open for business.
Despite the enormity of this tragedy, I think that we're seen as a safe destination, and people realise that we are a great place to visit.
Off the back of the shootings, tourism agencies and government have set up a special emergency group and compiled key information for visitors.
We're really focused on supporting our visitors that are coming into Christchurch at the moment to make sure they know that there is an elevated police presence here and that they are relying on the messaging from their international embassies, but also that we are welcoming everyone from everywhere around the world with open arms.
Tourism is one of our biggest export earners, worth $16 billion to the economy. But what the economic impact will be of events being cancelled and a potential tourism downturn is not yet known.
Tourism numbers tend to be retrospective, so we'll be able to look back and see whether or not there was any impact, but we can't forecast at the moment.
General reputation around the world is that we are a safe country, but obviously it'll have some effect, but I'm sure we'll pick up after that.
The Business Ministry says the priority right now is the safety of all Kiwis and all visitors. It says it'll take some time before any economic impacts become apparent, but those will be looked at a later date. Christchurch's tourism industry suffered a massive hit after the 2011 quakes.
From a Christchurch perspective, it's really too early to talk about where we're looking to go with promoting the city. We're just focusing on making sure that our visitors are welcomed.
The message is New Zealand's welcome mat is still out, despite Friday's attack.
You're with Tuesday's news. Trukai Sports is next with some sporting action. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The need to get the basics of defence and attack in rugby league is priority for players in the semi-professional intercity competition. The Papua New Guinea National Rugby League competition has purchased training equipment for teams this year.
The need to improve the level of skill for coaches and players in the intercity competition is priority
to ensure the level of rugby league in the country is up to world standard. The Papua New Guinea National Rugby League competition has had some help through the SPPNG Hunters in getting some useful experience to their coaches.
Every off-season, Michael calls in 2 or 3 coaches and trainers from each Digital Cup team to be part of the Hunters program, so they can understand what's done at the Hunters and they take it back to their local competition.
The main concern is the player skill level in basic drills like tackling, defense and passing, something that seems to be lacking in the competition for the majority of players. It was obvious that players' transition from the intercity competition to the Hunters needs polishing up of the basics.
Traditionally, a year or 2 ago, when a Digital Cup player transitions through to Hunters, coach requires another 4 to 6 weeks to work on them with the basic core skills. It's just the basic skills that are missing.
The PNG NRLC has purchased 2 containers of basic training gear, which include tackling pads. Not all teams have the basic gear, and this partnership will ensure teams in this year's competition can improve on the basics. PNG NRLC manager Stanley Hondina is confident that the start will ensure teams build their own training equipment.
We gave them some basic training kits. Look after this, maybe in the years to come, they can add on a few and pile on to, start something now. In the next 3 years' time, get a full training equipment like the Hunters gets. It's supposed to be 20.
Fidelis Sukina, National MTV Sports.
PNG Para Talent and Pathway Officer Peter Pulu, in a recent interview, told MTV Sports that preparations and training for this year's Arafura Games in Darwin, Australia are going well. He says the main aim of attending the Arafura Games is to qualify for the 2020 Tokyo Paralympics.
Preparations to get the para-athletes ready for the Arafura Games started last year, with talent identification rolled out across the country, to now training those that were identified to make the team. Para-talent pathway officer and coach Peter Pulu says training the team well and working on areas of improvement has been their #1 priority.
At the moment we're preparing the athletes for the coming Arafura Games in Darwin to classify them and to make sure they qualify. Our preparation towards the Arafura is really good. Injury-free, everybody is really training hard under the guidance of the high performance SNC team and plus me as a coach on the track.
He says most of the athletes preparing to attend the Arafura Games in Darwin, Australia will also be representing the country at this year's Pacific Games in Samoa.
We have sprinters and throwers, and they've been training, they've been improving every week.
Pulu says the main aim though is to qualify at Arafura Games for the 2020 Tokyo Paralympics.
The whole reason why we're keeping them together and training them is for them to actually qualify for the 2020 Tokyo Paralympics.
Godwin Eki, National MTV Sports.
You're watching True Kai Sports. Stay tuned. We've got more on the other side of this break.
True Kai Sports.
Welcome back to True Kai Sports. In bodybuilding, Team NCD has been busy training at the Aquatic Centre under the watchful eyes of President and athlete Kenny Cooper. Cooper says the main aim of attending this year's Nationals in Simbu is to identify and select a squad for the South Pacific Championships to be held in New Caledonia, as well as the World Championships in North Korea.
With less than 3 months to this year's bodybuilding championships in Chimbu, President and athlete for NCD Kenny Cooper says preparations to get the athletes ready for the contest are going well, especially under PNG High Performance.
Now I'm training association below NCD Bodybuilding Association as a president, and Kenny Cooper na mol team below me come across law high performance na mol allow me lo come in high performance law welcome preparation below National Championship law Chimbu.
Team NCD is to be made up of 20 men and 3 women athletes who are training at various times at the High Performance Gym.
One time all Nubla upcoming ones were all selected last National Championship law Cosno. All Papua New Guinea come Nubla Wanimelo National Championship law last year long any all qualified law by representing NCD, so Mibla working team. lo bamlago anta.
Since last year's national championships in Port Moresby, PNG missed out on attending the Pacific Champs in Fiji due to financial difficulties.
By this year, mibla tintin lo golo national championship na antablo chimbu lo June mibla by finding some la funds lo business houses na all government lo supporting mibla so mibla ba golo South Pacific Championship lo Nicoladonia.
The aim of the national championships this year will be to identify and make selections for this year's Pacific Champs in New Caledonia and followed by World Championships in North Korea. Godwin Eki, National MTV Sports.
In basketball, the train-on squad for 3-on-3 competitions held their training last week in Port Moresby, going through performance training as well as working on their fitness. National rep Dia Murray says the team is made up of young players who have mastered the game well and is confident of each of the talents on board.
Since the training camp last week, National rep Dia Murray says the talent in the train-on squad have so far been diligent in their training.
The training camp last week, we brought in 3 girls from Lae and 2 boys from Lae and 1 boy from Daru.
He says the team needs to work more on their fitness, skills and techniques.
Red squad is for the Pacific Game selection trials. So this is our first camp. We'll be having our second camp, I think, on the 3rd week of April, which is, I think, starting from the 22nd of April,
Murray says what's disappointing at this stage now is cutting the team down. His advice to the team is to attend all training sessions.
Just to believe in yourself and don't look at anybody, and nobody's going to put you down. It's all up to you to make the team. Nobody's going to tell you to make the team. It's yourself as an individual.
Godwin Eki, National MTV Sports.
To basketball abroad, the Oklahoma City Thunder has slumped with a 3rd straight loss in the NBA, going down 116 to 107 against the Miami Heat.
Steven Adams had 12 rebounds and 10 points for the Thunder, but ran into foul trouble in the second half. OKC's offense missing suspended point guard Russell Westbrook as Miami eased to victory. Golden State's Steph Curry wasn't missing, not even from deep in his own half.
Quarter court, good off the glass! Beats the buzzer with a banked-in 3 for his first triple of the quarter.
But Curry's 25 points weren't enough to prevent San Antonio closing out their 9th straight win, 111 to 105.
In international cricket, it took 45 matches across 26 years for the New Zealand cricket team to record its first ever test win. But Afghanistan has broken that in just their 2nd attempt.
Thrashed by an innings on Test debut against India last year, but found Ireland an easier proposition. They comfortably chased down 147 in the final innings to win by 7 wickets. Afghanistan are joint 2nd fastest to record a maiden Test win, tied with England and Pakistan.
And that story wraps up True Kai Sports for tonight. Up next, the weather details for the next 24 hours.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG. And to the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In the southern region, Port Moresby, Kerma, Alatau and Popanetta, showers and thundery rain showers for Darrow. In the Mamasa region, showers for Lae and some showers expected in Madang, Wewak and Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands, a shower or 2 for Lorengau and Kaving, and showers definitely for Rabaul, Kokopo, Kimbe and Booker. In the Highlands region, all centres expecting rain periods, then morning fog. There is a strong wind warning. Strong northwest winds of 25 to 34 knots are expected to continue for the next 24 hours, causing rough seas and high sea waves. All small craft and boats are advised to take necessary precautions both before and after going out to sea. There is also a gale wind warning. Very strong northwest surges of 34 to 48 knots are expected to persist for the next 24 hours, causing very rough seas and high sea waves. Again, all small craft and boats are advised to take necessary precautions before and after going out to sea. Forecast for small ships for the next 24 hours. Waters of southern PNG-Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island, seas 3 to 3.5 meters. Waters of Kiwai Island to Kerama to Yule Island to Hood Point to Samurai Island, with waters of Finschhafen through Vitius and Dampier Straits to Siasi Islands to Long Island, with waters of Manus and its western group of islands, and with waters of West New Britain, seas 2 to 3 meters. Waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, and with waters of Samurai Island to Cape Vogel to Finschhafen, seas 1.5 to 2 meters. Waters of Long Island to Madang to Bogia to Wewak to Aitape to Vanimo and northern PNG-Indonesian border, seas 2.5 to 3 meters. And finally, waters of New Ireland to East New Britain to Bougainville, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters. The ocean forecast for PNG areas. Warning, there's a strong wind warning for Bismarck and Coral Seas. In the Coral Seas, seas rough to high seas with northwest to northeast, with winds 34 to 48 knots. Solomon Seas, seas slight to moderate northwest to northeast winds at 10 to 20 knots. Bismarck Seas, seas rough northwest winds at 25 to 34 knots. And Pacific Ocean, seas slight to moderate with northwest to southwest winds at 10 to 20 knots. The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG. And that's the way it is this Tuesday, the 19th of March 2019. From the entire MTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.